Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 9 of the Old Men Magic podcast, where your hosts Alex and Steve discuss current and not so current matters in the world of Magic the Gathering. How you doing, Alex?
Great. How are you?
Not bad. It's been a lazy Saturday. Let's start the show off today by talking about a few little things that I want to discuss real quick. Not even discuss, just mention. The first is a shout out to a store that I've been buying cards from. Shout out to Frogtown Hobbies in Ohio. And I'm shouting out Frogtown Hobbies because I mentioned them in like a few episodes ago. I talked about there were like a few stores from TCG Player that I would order commons from, cheap commons, and they would always come near mint. I'd order near mint, they would always come near mint. There's a lot of places that I find when I order a near mint card for like $1, I feel like they don't respect the normal grading rules because they're like, this is cheap. They won't send them back or, whatever. I don't know what their thought process is, but I order an expensive card. I request near mint. I usually get near mint. When I'm ordering like dollar cards, 50-cent cards, not so much. People send me crap a lot of the time. Frogtown Hobbies always sends me near mint cheap cards. And then after I mentioned that, I placed a land order and I ordered a bunch of lands from couple different places, including Frogtown Hobbies, and I got a message on TCG Player from Frogtown Hobbies saying, "Oh, you ordered some near mint planes from us. When we were getting ready to package them to ship them, we noticed that they were not graded properly the first time around. Would you like us to just give you a refund or just send these along at a reduced price or something?" And I was like, "Oh, you could just cancel those. I'll get some near mints, but thanks for letting me know." So I appreciated that. I appreciate that they look at, like, you order 50-cent cards from these people, they actually look at them. They think about whether or not they were graded properly. And if they weren't, they don't send them out.
Yeah.
So that was nice.
Yeah, that's cool.
Shout out to Frogtown Hobbies. Also, Alex, I built a deck.
Uh-oh.
This is the first deck I've built in, I think, 22, 23, 24 years. I don't know. They're clear sleeves, so if I brought these somewhere and started playing with them, I think people might be like, "What in the hell are you doing?"
What is that?
Because some of these cards are from like 1997. Like, for instance, there's a Birds of Paradise here.
Oh yeah.
Some definite heavy play down here on this corner from all the times I shuffled it in 1994, 1995. So it's technically marked card, I guess. But when I watch people play online now, when I watch gameplay videos and stuff, nobody has clear sleeves. It's all solid colored, solid back sleeves.
Yeah.
It's a green stompy.
Oh.
So the decks I'm building at the beginning, I'm going simple. I'm going green big creatures, giant growths, other things, might evokes. When I sat down to build this, I was like, okay, I got my forests, and I'll start with 4 Llanowar Elves. And then I started digging through my cards. I don't have any Llanowar Elves.
What, really? At all?
No, I thought I did. I have to order some.
I'll give you some. I have some.
Do you have more than 4? Do you have plenty to give away?
Yeah. They might be called something else, but they're functionally the same, one of those.
No,
elves.
I don't want Findhorn Elves, Alex. I want Llanowar Elves.
Llanowar Elves. Yeah, I might not have that many then.
I'll take any Llanowar Elves, any excess Llanowar Elves you have. I placed when you first called me a few months ago, and you're like, "I'm getting back into Magic," and I was like, "Oh man, let me place a revised order. I want to get back into Magic too." I bought like a few Disrupting Scepters. I bought 4 Giant Growths. I bought a couple Lightning Bolts. I bought 4 Howl of Beyonds. I bought 4 Drain Lives. I didn't buy 4 Llanowar Elves. I forgot about that. Like, I bought a
Howl from Beyond. I have a stack of those. Someone I'd just give them to.
I don't think I'm ever gonna even play Howl from Beyond, so I don't know why I bought those ones. It was weird. I see I'm putting Giant Growths in a deck. I see myself putting a Drain Life or 2 in a deck. The Howl from Beyonds, I'm just not really sure why I bought them. Everything else I bought, I see myself putting in a deck someday. I think I bought like a revised Sarah Angel because I only have 3. I bought 2 Sengir Vampires. I see myself, putting those into an old school style deck someday. But
yeah.
Freaking Howl from Beyonds, I never even used them back in the day. I don't know what I was thinking.
Yeah. I think it looks attractive at first because it's sort of like, oh, this is like an X spell. It's like a fireball.
Yeah.
If you're playing black, there's probably just like better things to be. You know, you could cast a Drain Life if you want.
Who knows? Maybe I'll use.
There might be a spot for Hell from Beyond.
But now I just have to find some people to play.
It,
Some
it
play
was a
with.
card that I was collecting as like a meme for some reason back in
Okay.
the day. I have like a whole giant stack of different versions of Hell from Beyond. I have a beta one.
I wonder if anybody else is collecting Hell from Beyond. There's got to be somebody else out there.
Probably. Mm.
We'll see how this deck goes. We'll see if I can beat anybody with it. We'll see if I beat you with it at some point. I don't know what kind of decks you're planning on building, if any.
Oh yeah, I one of everything.
One of everything. Well, I'm starting green Stompy and red burn, and then I'm gonna build a goblins deck too. I've been buying some goblins.
Oh cool.
So some point in the not too distant future, I'm gonna have to have a pre-modern goblin episode because there's some pretty sweet pre-modern goblins. I'm just gonna have to decide: do I go with the gabagools or do I go with the standard gobos? I'm just not sure. I'm probably gonna do both because there's a lot of overlap, so you don't have to buy that much really to go gabagool.
Almost, yeah. You have two decks.
I kind of have them already. The Festering Goblin, the
I love that card.
the Crusade. What is it? Drow News Crusade.
Uh-huh.
And then a Tombstone Stairwell. Take out a few standard Goblin cards, put those in, and you got your Gabagools. So that was my deck build. That was my big project for the week. It's mostly like fast mana, so mana elves minus the I got Quirion elves in here instead of the Llanowar elves because that's what I have right now. And then I just wanted to giant growth things, and there were some additional enchant creatures that we talked about in previous episodes that didn't exist when we used to play back in the day that can kind of pump your creatures, pump your small creatures the same way giant growth can. And when we talked about these cards, I was like, oh, you typically don't like enchant creatures, but these ones, if your opponent clears the creature, they either come back to you in the case of Rancor, or you end up with a creature still on the board in case of this, what was it called? Let me find it. Elephant Guide. So it was this enchant creature that gives your creature +3/+3. When the enchanted creature is put into graveyard, you get a 3/3 green elephant creature token into play.
Really?
So, yeah, you put this on a 1/1, you got a 4/4. If they kill it, you still have a 3/3 on the board.
Judgment.
And then in addition to those, Basking Root Wallas. This is a nice little 1-drop from Torment.
You
1/1 lizard that you can pump. Treetop Villages. This cool mainland that was printed. And,
yeah, I like that one.
What was it? Urza's Legacy. That's the one with the hammer. Comes into play tapped. You pay a colorless and a green, make it a 3/3 green creature with trample. There's going to be lots of trampling. And for a bigger body, I put in Blastoderm. And then I remembered, I can't target this Blastoderm with spells or abilities. So like I can't giant growth it, I can't Rancor it, I can't Elephant Guide it, which I should have been thinking about that beforehand, but haven't been playing for 20 years. I found another green creature, 2 colorless, 2 green. It's a 4/4. So it's not a 5/5, but this guy has fading. So really, the turn he comes into play, he comes in a 5/5, but the first time you get to attack with him, he's a 4/4. But there was a card published in Onslaught called Ravenous Baloth, which is a 2 colorless, 2 green, 4/4 creature. So I think the Baloth is going to go in my deck in place of the Blastoderm. And that way I can giant growth it, Might Evokes it, Rancor it, Elephant Guide it as much as I want.
How about this one where you sacrifice a beast to gain 4 life?
Yeah.
Okay.
And which makes me, when I read that, I'm like, okay, definitely if somebody kills this, then you could sacrifice it and gain the 4 life, right?
Oh, can you use its ability on itself? Yeah.
I don't know. It doesn't say you can't.
Yeah, I don't see why not. You're playing as an instant, so why not?
That's what I think too.
Might be good in a black-green deck.
Yeah.
Sacrifice kind of deck.
When I found that deck, I didn't do research on this yet, but when I found that card, I read something that made me think that Onslaught was full of beasts. So like the beast tribe was a tribe. I think Onslaught is mostly about tribes, and I think the beast tribe was a tribe that they tried to like build up in Onslaught. So there's a lot of beasts that synergize with each other. So maybe that would be an interesting thing to build sometime in the future.
Yeah, that's cool.
But anyways, green stompy, giant growth, and rampaging, not rampaging, trampling. I get Elvish Herders in here too, so there will be trampling. Elvish Herders are a 1/1, 1-drop elf, where you can pay a green and it gives target creature trample until end of turn.
Oh, okay.
I need to trample. In a deck like this where you're playing Giant Growth, Might of Oaks to like pump your creatures.
Yeah.
If you pump them but you can't trample, and then somebody blocks your 9/9 with a 1/1. What's the point even, Alex? What's the point even if you don't trample?
What's the point? Are you doing it's strictly mono green, right?
Well, I threw in some Carclusion Forests, which are the red-green pain land. And I have a couple Birds of Paradise in here.
Okay.
And a couple Lotus Petals. I own 2 Lotus Petals.
All right. Well, with Birds of Paradise and stuff, we've talked about it before. I think I really like Armadillo Cloak.
I forgot about that one. But here's what I have in here so far.
Can't see.
It's Fling.
Fling.
It's a 1 colorless, 1 red, instant. Sacrifice a creature. Fling deals damage equal to the sacrificed creature's power to target creature or player.
Oh, okay.
So my idea is to pump a creature, trample to do however many damage, and then fling it to do extra damage. I'm assuming that will work. I'm assuming that seems legal to me. You should be able to attack and then fling with the creature, right?
I think so.
I'm going to be doing a lot of work with fling. It's one of the major cards in my Colossus Asardia deck.
Oh,
so. That's enough. That's enough of my juvenile deck build. My mostly green stompy deck build. When I finally play it against somebody, I'll let you know how it works.
Okay, sweet.
You'll probably be the first person I play it against.
We start trying to play a Zoom game or something soon. I'll make a deck soon. I have some ideas, and I've been getting all the building blocks. Should be ready.
Is there anything you want to talk about real quick? Any pre-segment things to chat about? Any news?
Pre-segment or news?
Anything happening in the world of Magic: The Gathering that you want to discuss briefly?
I don't think so, unless that's a prompt or something that I'm forgetting. But
no, it's not. Just I have one more thing before we get into the special topic of the week. Okay. Follow up to episode 8.
Mm-hmm.
The big turbine controversy, where you mentioned Urza's turbine, and you're like, how do you pronounce that? Is it turbine? And I was like, what are you talking about? Why would you even ask that question? Is there something wrong with you? Turbine's a different word. Apparently, this is a major source of controversy. When I looked it up on dictionary.cambridge.com, there are 2 different pronunciations: turbine or turbine.
Yes, alternate pronunciation.
And turbine is the standard British pronunciation, and turbine, according to this online dictionary, is the standard American pronunciation. So normally, I would argue that the British don't know how to speak their own language, because they tend to pronounce words incorrectly. But in this case, the British are correct. I also don't understand. I read more about this, and they're like, yeah, turbine's the standard American pronunciation. I'm like, my whole life, I've never heard anybody say turbine instead of turbine. But then other people said it's a regional thing in the United States. But some people were saying that, who said that, were like, yeah, in the Midwest, everybody says turbine. And they were people who were at Purdue in engineering schools, and they're like, yeah, everybody pronounces it turbine. This is terrible. I don't agree with this. It is a different word. And then one person was like, well, how do you pronounce engine? My response to that is there's no other word that is also pronounced engine that means something totally different, unless you're incredibly racist, and that's what you call Native Americans all the time. But that's only if you're incredibly racist. I mean, nobody says engine, but turbine is the proper pronunciation because turbine is another word. That's where I stand on that issue. I don't know if you've thought about this at all, Alex, but I was listening back to
I looked at it briefly, and I thought they were just. It ended up being they were just alternate pronunciations of the same word.
Yeah, they are just alternate pronunciations, but my stance is that one of the pronunciations is not correct.
Oh, okay. Well, no, that's fine. Yeah. There's
But
none, yeah.
you were right to question how one was to pronounce that because there are disagreements about how it is pronounced. Some people say turbine, some people say turbine. You are correct. I was wrong to shut
I
you
thought
down.
I had heard people say it both ways, but I was never really sure if there was like some sort of functional difference between the two. And
no, there is no functional difference. All my life, I don't think I've ever heard anybody say turbine. I find it to be weird that all of a sudden this comes up. And then people on Reddit are like, yeah, that's how everybody in the Midwest pronounces it.
I don't know.
Definitely not true, right?
I don't. I would say I have heard people say it, but not everyone.
And not the standard pronunciation, correct? I mean, it's not the most common pronunciation, is it?
I hear people say it enough that I can judge that.
Yeah, okay.
Pretty rarely spoken word to begin with.
Okay, no. Okay, that's enough of that. Now we're going to talk about Magic the Gathering. I only brought that up because I felt bad that I shut you down last week. I was like, what are you asking that question for, Alex? Shouldn't have done that. Special topic of the week. Alex, I hear you have a special topic for this week. Do you know what that special topic is?
Oh, are we talking about the cycle of forecasting cost spells?
Yes. So when I looked these up, I learned that the cycle has a name. They're called Lobotomy Spells.
Okay. Which I didn't know. I hadn't even seen the gold one, the black and blue one, Lobotomy.
Yeah. Did you see that? Did you look that up?
Yeah, I did. I've looked that up now, and it's just so everyone knows. 2 colorless, 1 blue, 1 black, and you look at it's a sorcery. You look at their hand, choose a non-basic land from it, and then you search their graveyard. It says hand again. That's weird. Their graveyard library for all of the duplicates of that card, and you exile all of them up to 4 of them or whatever.
Yeah, except you don't just choose a non-basic land. You choose anything other than a basic land. So it can be a non-basic land or any other.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, that was maybe confusing. Yeah.
A sorcery from Tempest. So I don't remember this card. It seems pretty good. I don't even know how many people play it, if any. I guess you have so many options in black for discard that maybe it just doesn't make its way into the decks. Maybe it's just cut.
Full casting cost. And
it is. It's a high casting cost.
Cheaper. I do like it. I like the effect and how you go through everything. The one thing I thought of though as soon as I saw a Lobotomy after seeing the other ones was, I feel like I'd almost rather let my opponent play one of them first, have to waste the mana on it, and then play the card, because it's functionally the same as using the Lobotomy to make them discard the card before they. Do you see what I mean?
I gotta think about that for a second. Look at the player's hand. Search the player's graveyard, hand, and library for all copies. Well, if they play it and you don't have a way to deal with it, though.
Right. Well, I'm saying if you're using the version of this spell that like targets a creature in play or targets an artifact.
Correct. Okay, yeah. You're saying so Lobotomy is the original version of this card that this cycle in Urza's Destiny kind of plays off of. They're the Lobotomy spells, lobotomy in quotes. You're saying you would rather play the Urza's Destiny's versions of these. Wait, is that what you're saying?
Sorry, is it Urza's Destiny? I'm lost here. I lost my copies of the cards for a second. 1 second. Okay, so oh yeah, you're right. Urza's Destiny.
Yeah.
Okay. But Lobotomy is not in Urza's Destiny.
No, Lobotomy is in Tempest. It came prior to. Yeah. Prior to these Urza's
Destiny cards after. Okay, so sorry. So the first one we mentioned was we talked about the green one, maybe? Is that the first one?
We talked about the green one in one episode. This is before we knew there was a whole cycle of them. So there's 5 different cards in this cycle, one for each color. The first one we talked about was Splinter.
Splinter, yes. I was trying to remember the name. There we go. So Splinter does it with artifacts, right? Yeah.
Yes.
You exile an artifact for 2 green, 2 colorless mana, and then you search their graveyard hand library for all of the duplicates of it and exile them as well. And then the player shuffles. And so then there's a red version for land called Sowing Salt. There's a white version for, I believe, is it enchantments? It's called Scour. I'll look it up for real quick. And all of these have the same similar casting cost of 2 colorless and 2 of the mana of that color. I don't know why it's not coming up when I search for it now.
Here, I'm sharing my screen.
Oh, there it is.
What
Yeah,
you're
great.
looking at now.
Scour, yeah.
But
Scour is
we talked
enchantment.
about Splinter. Let's go to Scour. Scour, yeah.
2 colorless, 2 white, remove target enchantment from the game, search its controller's graveyard hand library for all of them, and remove them from the game as well.
And this card, I actually have 4 of, and I totally forgot about it.
Oh, really?
It's because one day when I was placing an order for stuff like 2 months ago, I randomly came across this, and they sold for like 50 cents. No. Current market price of 12 cents. I probably bought them for like 25 cents a piece. I just stuck them in my cart before I placed the order because I was like, I feel like I might want some of these at some point. They are high casting cost, and they all seem to do like something that a lower casting cost card and the same color already does against just one target.
Mm-hmm.
So you're not going to want to use them all the time in all decks, but I feel like any combo deck or any deck that relies heavily on one card and it's a 4 of,
Yeah, they're gonna, 3
you
or
kind of
4.
want to you'd want to run these, right? I mean,
Maybe I could see it. Like, they seem to have decent ratings from back in the day. And geez, I'm trying to. None of these have links to the other ones in them. What's the black one again?
I'll pull them up. Let me just go through
Eradicate.
we started Splinter, then Scour.
You're getting too far ahead.
Let's go to Eradicate.
Yes, Eradicate. Same thing. 2 colorless, 2 black. Remove a non-black creature from the game, and then you search graveyard hand library. Remove all of them.
So this is like a terror.
Yeah.
But it terrors the target creature and then clears the rest out of your opponent's deck, hand, and graveyard.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess what I was saying with Lobotomy is like, with Lobotomy, I could pick a creature from their hand and then from their graveyard and library, or with Eradicate, I could wait for them to cast it, waste the mana in the turn, and then use it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and
You have to be a little
Lobotomy.
more. Sorry.
Lobotomy, it's only you can only use it against whatever happens to be in their hand at the time that you've cast that.
But it has
spell.
the versatility of being able to be used like all of the other ones. You could use it on a land or on a creature.
Yes.
Or on,
Yes.
So as long as you specialize correctly, I feel like they both have advantages. I guess is all I'm saying.
Splinter's green, Scour white, Eradicate black. Let's go to Quash.
Oh yeah, I didn't mention that yet.
I don't know what Quash is. Quash is the blue version. 2 colorless, 2 blue. Counter target instant or sorcery spell. Searches controller's graveyard, hand, and library for all copies of that card. Remove them from the game. That player then shuffles his or her library. So it's a counter version.
Yeah, and I like that it works on an instant or a sorcery. That's good.
Yeah.
But it is a 4 casting cost counter. So
I was just gonna say I wish it worked against an interrupt, but those don't exist anymore, which is why
I know
it's not in the text. So you could use this against a counterspell because counterspells are instants now, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Because I first read this, I was like, oh man, this would be better if you could use it against counterspells and clear all the counterspells from their deck. But I was like, oh, it doesn't say interrupt. But again, I'm forgetting that they changed that.
I feel like this would be really good, like pretty early in the game, like the first point at which you could cast it to counter something that's like a 4 of in their deck that they use for like either one of their counter spells or one of their library manipulation type spells. You know,
Yeah.
someone 4 blue spells that let them dig through their library. You could get rid of one of them. They're going to use it early on, and they don't think anyone's going to counter it. But you could use this to like get rid of all of them
Yeah.
in their library.
If you're playing a combo deck like these, like the Dreadnought combo decks that I talked about a few episodes ago, where people just try to stifle or vision charm their Dreadnought out as soon as possible. If you could just scour and quash that deck, they would literally be able to do nothing. Scour out all the... You would just really have to scour, really. You remove all the Phyrexian Dreadnoughts. I feel like that's what I would want to play these cards for.
Splinter to remove the Dreadnoughts.
Oh yeah. Sorry, I don't know why I was saying that.
That's okay. Yeah, as long as you can do that quickly enough.
That's the thing. Yeah, you got to get to 4 mana before they can hit you twice with the Dreadnought. Which, if a Dreadnought deck is firing on all cylinders, it's like you're in big trouble by turn 2, 3.
True, yeah. but they look like they're fun to play with.
Yeah, I wonder how much play they get.
Probably not much, considering how cheap they are.
That's true. They are very cheap. They're all below 25 cents for the most part.
These are all 25-cent cards. They're uncommons, and it's easy to grab a few of these for a deck if you wanted to play with them for casual play.
I want to sideboard them though.
Yeah, I'll pop this in a deck.
Sowing Salt, the one we didn't talk about all that much. Sowing Salt is the red version. 2 colorless, 2 red. Sorcery. Remove target non-basic land from the game. Search its controller's graveyard, hand, and library for all copies of that card and remove them from the game. That player then shuffles his or her library. This would be very satisfying if you were playing against one of these super expensive elf decks that I see in pre-modern. They're mostly super expensive because they run 4 Gaia's Cradles.
Right.
If you just sowed salt all over their Gaia's Cradles, just took them all out.
Oh yeah, for sure. And like we talked about, so many decks these days isn't again a card that's maybe gotten better because so many decks now have like almost no basic lands in them. They're maybe only including 1 or 2 to use the fetch lands to bring into play, and the rest of it is fancy lands. So you could really hurt someone's, mana pool with this, I think.
Yeah, it's fetch lands, wastelands, Gaia's Cradles. These are just in the pre-modern. Of course, vintage and stuff, everybody's just duels.
Yeah,
all
you
duels.
could be using on their gemstone mines, their ancient tombs, all that kind of stuff.
Okay. And each one of these cards were all reprinted in Betrayers of Kamigawa, whatever the hell that is.
Or were they really?
Yeah. Do you know what Betrayers of Kamigawa is?
I mean, I've heard of the set, but
okay. The Betrayers of Kamigawa version of Sowing Salt, it's the same price. I was going to say it's actually more expensive, but that's not true.
It used to be $3 though. People were apparently playing it like in standard, when this first came out or something.
Yeah. Yeah, all these cards used to be a few bucks. Now's a good time to get in.
Yeah,
get your cycle. Buy your cycle of Lobotomy Spells.
Yeah, I bought a couple of each of these. Why not?
I think I will too, because I just want to have them as sideboard cards, really. When you know what you're playing against, so many people were on 4-ups that their decks like depend on. At least in the pre-modern space, all these pre-modern decks I look at, these deck lists I look at, it's like one of these can just wipe out one of the 2 or 3 cards they need for their combo to get things going. It's totally worth it. I also love the idea, like I said, of just removing 4 $1,000 lands from somebody's green deck.
Yeah.
Goodbye, Gaia's Cradles. Worthless, and Commander's a huge format, because these are all worthless in Commander, which is probably contributing to the fact that they're so cheap, right? Commander's just one of everything.
Definitely not good. Unfortunately.
Okie dokie. I have no further input on the lobotomy cycle spells from Urza's Destiny, but I like them all.
I don't think so. Yeah, and on a down note with their uselessness in Commander, sadly, but yeah, fun for casual play.
Okay, Alex, let's talk some MTG Finance or recent purchases or
Oh
MTG
boy!
news. Do you
All
have
right.
finance stuff to talk about?
Yeah, yeah. I think you do too. We have a couple, maybe. The big thing that I noticed recently, and this was actually from like a week or so ago, we could have been on the last podcast, but um, Captain Sisay. Captain Sisay is a legend. She is from Invasion. She's two colorless, one green, one white, and she's a 2/2 legend who you can tap to search your card for a legend or legendary card and put it into your hand. Um, what I noticed about this card was that it was spiking like crazy the other day. uh, it kind of doesn't surprise me. I had noticed it before and thought, oh, this would be a fun card to play with all the new, legends that have come out. It'd be fun
Mm-hmm.
in Commander. Um, and I was sort of wondering why it hadn't gone up more. It was around $15 or $20. And about a week or so ago, it just really spiked up to 60, $70. It might have come back down a little bit by now, but that's the big news. That's my biggest financial news. And luckily, I just managed to pick one up before it spiked, so I was happy, but not that happy.
I don't know what they're at right
Neither.
now. MTGstocks.com has a current market price of 33.34, but this is like the same price it had like 5 days ago when I looked on TCG Player, and like the cheapest near mint one that was listed was like 70 plus.
Yeah.
So
Right
this
now, the
isn't quite
cheapest near
correct yet
mint
because
is
there's a lot
like,
of activity going on. Uh, but this is infuriating to me. This gets me worked up. This is a card that I looked at, yeah, when we first started getting interested again, mid 2022. And I saw this too, and I was like, oh man. Because when I first started buying cards, the very first things I bought were legendary creatures that I always wanted to have when I was like
dragon.
12. I bought
Yeah.
like Elder Dragons. I bought a Sulcanar the Swamp King. I bought a Stang. And I was like, oh man, I got to get this Captain Sisay and put it in a stupid Legends deck that I built. But I thought, it's an invasion. I have plenty of time to buy this card. It's not going to be ridiculously expensive. And then people go and they do this.
Yeah.
This is outrageous.
Madness. Madness.
The buyouts, for the most part, they don't bother me all that much. People do your thing. But please restrict in the future your buyouts to reserve list cards. Leave all not even all reserve list cards. Let me modify a statement. Please stop with the buyouts for all pre-modern legal cards until I establish my positions. Please and thank you. Otherwise,
That should work.
I'm gonna get worked up. I'm gonna find out who's doing this.
Oh, he will too.
I am going
I've
after
seen it.
these people, Alex.
I've seen it.
I can't have this anymore. You bought out Lifeblood. I was mildly irritated because I wanted to buy one copy of Lifeblood.
And then came Haunting Wind.
But I dealt with it. Then you bought out Power Leech, and I was
Power
like,
Leech.
I don't give a shit. Who cares about Power Leech? Let some weirdo buy out all the Power Leeches. I don't care. Not to insult you. I don't mean to call you a weirdo. Maybe you have a reason why you're buying up Power Leeches, but I'm not going to play Power Leech. Almost nobody's going to play Power Leech.
No.
You do your thing on Power Leech. Do whatever you want to do to that card. You start coming after cards like Captain Sisay, who's just a fun card to play from Invasion, not on the reserve list. They could print this thing at any time. Has she already been reprinted?
Yes.
Secret Layers from the vaults. I don't know what those print runs are. Those are small print runs, but come on, this is just a card that people want to play, sitting around the table. Home magic. What do they call it? Tabletop magic, kitchen table magic. This is a kitchen table magic card.
Yeah.
You're pumping this up from 20 bucks to 70 bucks plus over the course of like 2 weeks. Give me a break. I'm going to find you. I'm going to come to your house. I will toilet paper your home. I will find where you live. I will come to your house in the middle of the night. I will bring sidewalk chalk.
Sidewalk chalk.
We'll draw dicks all over the pavement in your driveway. The neighbors will laugh. It will be there until the next big rain, or you're going to have to come out, stand in your driveway, and water down the dicks. Do you want to do that? That would be embarrassing. No, you don't want to do that. Is it worth it?
I don't think it's worth it. I would just not buy Captain Sisay.
I will find where you live. I will follow you when you leave your house. I will wear a shirt that says, I'm with stupid, and an arrow pointing to you.
That's a good one.
Everybody will know that you are stupid.
They'll be in big trouble then.
Do you want to do this? Do you want this to happen? If you do not, do not buy out any pre-modern playable cards until I've established my position. If you want to know if I've established my position, email oldmenmagic@gmail.com. Tell me what you're considering buying out. I will let you know if I've established my position.
Just get permission first. That's all.
Yeah, so there's a safe way to do these buyouts. If you don't want me following you around town with a shirt that says I'm with stupid, an arrow pointing towards you, just drop me an email. I'll let you know if it's okay. But I wanted a Captain Sisay, and I don't have one yet, and there's no way I'm buying one for $70.
They're like $57, $60 right now. It looks like.
I didn't even want to buy one for 25 bucks. I was like, ooh, I think it'll drop to 10 again. It did not, because somebody bought it out.
I scooped one for 15.
I know. And you know what? That week, that day you told me what was happening, and you were like, oh, I bought mine. I thought the sticker said 17, but did they get marked down? Are you lying to the public?
No, it was 15, but it was over top of a sticker that said 20. So
okay. When you told me that, I immediately looked on TCG Player, and I saw that, like the cheapest near mint was like 70 bucks at that particular time. And then I went onto eBay, buy it now. And there were a couple on eBay, buy it now, that were near mint with photographs. And they were both selling around 24, 25 bucks. And I didn't buy it because I was like, I don't need one right now. I don't need to freak out just because some dope is buying, not to insult this person, whoever's doing this, just because some dope is buying out Captain Sisay. It might not even be a person. It could be a store somewhere. Who knows?
Or a robot.
It could be a robot. It could be several robots. It could be several people. You don't know. I didn't buy it. And then like the next day, but I put it on my watch list. The next day I got notifications that like they had sold, because I wondered whoever's doing these buyouts, like where they were looking. It seems like they usually start. This is usually what happens. At least this is what I've noticed in the few buyouts that I've tracked. It'll start on TCG Player. That's when I'll first notice it. But then if you go to eBay and search to buy it now, you can usually see a couple that are still there at the old price. So like it takes a day or two for those to get cleared out.
Interesting. There's a little lag there. Okay. That's good to know.
For the future.
Yeah. If I see something bought out, I'll tell you so you can check on the eBay.
My blood pressure's dropping a little bit. It's normalizing. My blood pressure's normalizing.
Take a deep breath. Give us some other financially interesting cards.
But I do really I wonder like what is going through this individual or this group of individuals' head. What are they going for here?
There's hot legends. There's going to continue to be hot legends. I can see how it would get targeted, maybe, but
yeah, they will just reprint this one.
That's what I was going to say. If this, if people are driving this up to $70, it's going to be in, if nothing else, the next commander-based set, like real quick.
Yeah. And I don't want the reprint. I do want the original.
Yeah.
But
I look at the reprint, the secret layer.
It will drop.
Borderless. It's not bad looking, but this is cool.
Do you know what the print runs are like on these secret layer series and the From the Vault series?
No.
Neither do I.
I mean, secret layers have got to be pretty small. They're only, I think they only print as many as they get orders for ahead of time. I think they literally wait until after the orders to print. I might be wrong about that. I don't know.
Okay.
But it should be pretty small for secret layer stuff. From the vault, I don't know anything about. Speaking of dumb buyouts, I
Oh no.
noticed a week or so ago someone tried to hit Anzaran Ruins from Homelands again.
Okay, so
Uh,
this is a pre-modern playable card, but you're allowed to buy out anything from Homelands other than Baron Sengir until I establish my possession. How do I
Anzaran
spell
Ruins
Anzar and Ruins? There, I just did it.
did it. This is an enchantment in red, 2 red, 2 colorless, and it's a creature hate enchantment basically.
You mentioned this. I remembered. All I remembered were the pillars with the faces on them.
Yeah, it has a distinctive art. Uh, you choose a creature type, and that creature type doesn't untap during the untap phase.
Hmm.
So you can use it to lock down, a tribal deck or
Yeah.
just part of someone's deck for 2 red, 2 colorless. Not incredibly practical, probably, but maybe a sideboard card or something. One of the very few not completely terrible cards in Homelands.
We talked about tribal hate a little bit last week, and there's extinction, which just kills everything from kills all cards, all creatures of whatever type you choose. I think that might have been 5 mana, and it wasn't black, not red. Red has plenty of board wipes. Those red board wipes tend to kill your own creatures too. I'm trying to think, like when would I ever play in Zarin Ruins? I've never wanted to play it in over 20 years.
It seems pretty niche. I mean, because like you have direct damage, so you could just, like you said, you
Yeah.
could have a spell that does 4 damage to all their creatures, or whatever.
Yeah.
Why mess with the untapping? But yeah, I'd say it has to go. I don't know, into some sort of. Now I'm just speculating. I don't know.
I don't know. Don't know what people are doing with it, if they have any plans for it other than just squirreling it away somewhere because it's reserved list.
Yeah, they're seeing something that's. Yeah, I don't know.
What's that going for again now? Current market price on MTG stocks
Right.
is $6.83.
Yeah, they're going for about $6 to $8. There's 2 for sale for under 7, and then the rest are 8 or 10.
Alex, we are about to form a cup and handle pattern on the Anzarin Ruins chart.
Oh,
This is very bullish. If it gets back to its previous high, that means it's going to the moon.
to the
That
moon.
means it just goes all the way up here. See where I'm doing where I'm moving my cursor?
Oh, I
just
see
keeps
it.
going.
Way up.
So I'll tell you when to buy.
But this has got to be, I mean, I don't know. Got to be a lot of these out there.
Yeah. I wonder how many just unopened boxes of Homeland there are, just like
Yes, yeah.
sitting in the warehouses of the 2 or 3 biggest Magic the Gathering shops in the country.
There's probably a fair amount of unopened Homelands, and there's probably a ton of people with this card in their box that they just, it's just sitting there.
They don't even know it's there.
But one day, if it gets up to $15, they're going to go dig it out and sell it. And I just can't imagine it holding a high price for a while. But
we've talked about Homelands before, and it's like the literally only things in Homelands that I think I want to put in a deck are Ice and Crusader, and then maybe Baron Sengir,
yeah,
just because it's fun, and that's it.
Yeah.
And actually, I did buy some Serrated Arrows because I will probably have those in some Pauper decks at some point.
Yeah, Serrated Arrows wasn't a terrible card. I think there might be better stuff now, though.
Well, yes, but I bought it specifically for Pauper.
Okay.
For certain colors, it's a common, and in certain colors, you don't have the same kind of spells available to clear out a bunch of 1/1s or whatever.
Yeah.
So very specific use case.
And then you have Didgeridoo,
which I kind of wanted to didgeridoo.
It's fine.
I mean,
that, open ceiling for like, will they print good Minotaurs?
Well, here's the thing: if you ever want to run a Minotaur deck, you need didgeridoo.
Yeah, for sure. Because they're also not going to make that tribe stronger in any way that like how should I put this? Like the Didgeridoo exists and is fairly strong for the tribe, so I don't think they're ever going to make a viable Minotaur like. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
I know what you're going to say.
Okay.
There will never be a card that will surpass a didgeridoo in a Minotaur deck. Is this what you were saying?
Not. Yeah, probably not. And I think however they design future Minotaurs, it will kind of be like an auto include card in mind.
Yes.
So they will probably always play to the strengths and weaknesses of didgeridoo, assuming they will assume that it will be in the decks. Does that make sense?
And I have these fantasies about like going to
Didgeridoo fantasies.
a shop or a tournament, even with like a Minotaur deck, and bringing an actual didgeridoo. And then every time I cast a
Oh,
Minotaur with my
that would
didgeridoo,
be amazing.
I play the didgeridoo.
Oh,
Exactly.
that'd be sweet.
I'd probably get kicked out.
Probably. It'd be worth it though. You could film it and you get so many views on our
It
channel,
would.
and
It
that'd
would
be
be worth it.
better than trying to win the tournament. This too bad this isn't a common for Pauper, but there's a card I recently just bought. It's another Urza's Destiny under $1 called Archery Training.
Archery training.
Yeah, this is just a tangent because we were talking
This
about
is one of your purchases. This is a
yeah,
purchase.
yeah. This is just because you mentioned Serrated Arrows. It's a 1 white enchantment, an enchant creature, which is what an aura now. Something they call it something different. It's 1 white. Every upkeep you put a counter on it,
Oh,
and the creature can tap to do as many X damage, where X is the number of counters. But the counters don't go away, so the creature just gets the ability to tap for that much damage, and it grows every turn.
I like this.
Yeah, just for 1 white, it just builds over time, and pretty soon you have a guy that can tap to deal 4 damage or 5 damage.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna put this probably in like a one of my whitish enchantress decks. That's what you're talking about, building decks. That's going to be one of the first things I'm working on. I think is an enchantress deck, and then some kind of either 2 different or a combo deck of unsummoning and graveyard. I want to do both unsummon and graveyard kind of decks, and like black, blue, or black.
Green, white, green, white enchantress.
Yeah, there's a couple options. I mean, you can
Yeah.
play green, white, green, green, blue, 3 color like that. Those are the most popular. You can put black in there. Uh, there's that lady I like, Rain Academy Chancellor, and she works like an enchantress, but every time you cast an enchantment, instead of making her bigger, it allows you to draw a card. So the blue has like a card draw enchantress.
I like that.
Yeah, yeah. And she's cheap. She's a cheap card.
This is pretty cool.
Yeah, fun. Other finance notes. Okay.
What did we talk about? Captain Sisay dipping.
Yep.
We talked about something else right after Captain Sisay.
Not dipping. We
Okay,
talked
we just rambled.
Ruins.
Oh yeah, Anzan Ruins. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I don't know why I said dipping. Yeah, it's spiky.
This is an old card that I noticed. Its price when I was looking up different things. Do you remember Nether Shadow?
Yeah, it's that two black 1/1
Very good
thing that comes back from the graveyard.
He's a shadow. If he has at least 3 creatures on top of him in the graveyard, he comes back into play on your side.
Oh yeah. Okay.
He also has haste all the time. So at the minimum, he's 2 black for a 1/1 with haste, and then he comes back. And if you play a couple of these in your deck, you get like a cycling thing going where they're popping back into play.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to build a deck around that, but I was looking at, it's like an old school like mechanic.
Yeah.
I was looking at him, and I checked the price of an unlimited one, and up until 2 or 3 weeks ago, there were some selling for like $15.
Ooh.
Now there's none left except for 1 for 50 and 1 for 70. So that card dried up real fast in unlimited. And I got excited because I thought I bought one a long time ago, and I went looking through my cards, and it turns out I just bought 2 revised ones.
Oh lordy. You could have retired, Alex.
I know. Could have made like a $50 profit here.
Would you? You just would have kept it though, right?
Yeah, I would have just.
That's the thing. It's like these things go up, and I just want to keep them
I
anyway.
don't want to sell it.
Doesn't matter. I just want everything to be like. I just want everything to plummet in price, and I just
It really has to be a card
that
I like definitely don't want to play with and don't like very much for me to like sell it. Or like,
I think I'm gonna play with everything though. This is what I'm
just about.
Every card I see, I'm like, I'm gonna build this deck. I'm gonna build that, but I'm not. I have to think about back in the day, like I didn't. There were definitely things that sat in my sat in my box just the whole time I played Magic, and I just never played with them.
Yeah.
The same thing's going to happen this time too, but I'm fooling myself into thinking I'm going to play with all this stuff all the time.
Yeah. But you can. What I'm looking for is opportunity to trade. I missed having lots
Yeah.
of people to play with so I can trade. But hopefully we fix that.
And buy list still exists. I mean, I don't know what the buy lists are looking like now online, but I did search a couple big stores buy lists maybe like 2 months ago, and I thought to myself, oh, like the amount that they're offering in trade for some of these older cards was like pretty reasonable.
Oh, okay. It wasn't as bad
So
as I
you
thought.
could, like, if you got things at a good price, maybe if you held on it to it for a couple years and something spiked up in price, there are opportunities, it seems like, to trade for other high price things that you
Yeah.
really want that
And
may not be increasing in price at the same time for whatever reason.
I,
If you're watching the market closely, certain things going up, you could take advantage.
oh yeah, for sure. Because we've talked about it before how volatile it is. Like, so you just have to be paying attention.
Yeah, it does take a lot of time.
What was I gonna say? Darn it.
Were we going to talk about anything else going up?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Coffin Queen. I love this card.
You do. You've talked about Coffin Queen many times. Is Coffin Queen going up again?
Yes, Coffin Queen is bumping up again. It had been about $7-8 for a while. Now it's 11, 10, 12, and there's not many for sale. There's only a few.
This is a pre-modern legal card.
10, 11, 13, 14, 14, the ones that are available.
Still not too bad.
Right for a reprint. I think someone mentioned it in the finance Reddit a little while ago. It might have given it a little bit of a boost.
Yeah, I know you were looking through Tempest at some point for cards that were not on the reserve list, but also had not been reprinted all these years.
Correct, yeah. And
this was one of them. It's also by an iconic artist. The art is by one of the Foglios, Kaja Foglio.
Kaya?
Kaya Foglio. That's probably right. Kaja's definitely probably not right.
But I like Coffin Queen. She's two colorless, one black for a 1/1 creature, and you can tap her and two colorless and a black to bring a creature from any graveyard into play under your control.
Yeah.
I like that because you can steal it from your opponent. It shuts down other people's reanimator decks. And it's just fun. I always like stealing my opponent's cards. That's super fun to me.
It would be fun to play against, like you said, a reanimator deck. Somebody puts something into their graveyard on purpose and you snag it.
Yeah. But yeah, anyways, I noticed this card was running out of copies for sale online a little bit and going up in price a little bit. So keep an eye on that one.
Plus, remove that creature from the game if Coffin Queen becomes untapped, or if you lose control of Coffin. You could just do things to untap her and then just pick off all their creatures.
Yeah, that's worth noting is that, it removes it from the game. It doesn't go back into their graveyard.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool.
Pick off all their creatures from the graveyard. Of course, that'd be specific to a, playing against a graveyard reanimation deck. Anyways.
Well, on the topic of black, let's check out Carnival of Souls. Sweet name. This is an Urza's Destiny rare. It's a black enchantment, one black, one colorless. Whenever a creature comes into play, you lose one life and add one black to your mana pool.
Did we talk about this?
I don't know.
Or did I come across this and just sit here and look at it? I don't know if we talked about it, or if maybe both of these happened. Maybe you mentioned to me.
I don't think we talked about it before.
I pulled it up at some point. I'm having this memory of pulling this card up and then staring at it and thinking, what are people doing with this card? Why is it $15? Somebody in a podcast I listened to might have even mentioned this as like a terrible card.
Really?
It's a one colorless, one black enchantment.
Break it or something. Like, I mean, for 2 mana, you get an effect that,
Yeah, you lose one life, but you add a black to your mana pool.
Dangerous. Yeah, it's dangerous for sure. But I mean, I guess the chief thing you'd play it in a deck that like generates some tokens or generates some
Yeah.
weenie creatures so that you could pump a lot of black into your mana pool. And then you have control over it. More dangerously, you could play it against someone with a weenie deck, and you'll be getting free mana for their, I don't want to say free because it costs life, but you'll be getting mana for their creatures. So
Somebody could kill you with their token generator.
True.
Yeah, you'd want to put this out on the turn that you're planning on doing something big with it. Otherwise, you get yourself into trouble.
Yeah, I probably don't want to have it hanging around for a while. Yeah. But I noticed it's dropping in price. It was up to about $20 for a while.
Yeah, it had a big spike. It had a big COVID spike. 2020, about $3. Went up to over 20. Working its way back down. Has it ever been reprinted? It's on the reserved list.
Is it? No.
Yeah, it is.
What?
Down here, reserve list.
Is it? Oh, well.
Buy them up, Alex. Buy them up.
I didn't know that. I bought one.
If anybody buys this card out, I won't show up at your house. It's okay. It's kind of neat. I probably think of something cool to do with it, but I don't need to build a Carnival of Souls deck before I die.
That's fine.
Yeah.
All right, next big mover, Ruination.
Alex, what's in this wheelbarrow back here? Is this the same?
Souls.
But is this the same creature that was in? What was that card we were talking about last week? That was like a trash can with an alien head.
Oh no, I don't think so.
They're not. Okay,
I think those are guys with like helmets that look like Raiden hats.
Oh yeah.
And they have big breastplates on or something.
Oh, they're walking. They're walking. Is this even a wheelbarrow?
I guess it's not. No, it's just the ring on the guy's staff. I can't tell what's in front of them. That looks
I can't tell what's going on
Maybe
there
they're
either.
carrying shields.
He looks pretty sad.
He does. Well, read the flavor text. The flavor text is weird.
Deval, whatever that is. Blast those elves. Deval, transport those troops. No one cares today is my birthday. Oh, that's Deval.
Yeah.
He's sad, yeah.
He's sad.
That was like me a month ago.
Okay, from Stronghold, red card, Ruination.
Is this the one? Is this a board wipe?
Yeah.
What am I doing? I'm typing in Stronghold.
Ruination. This has been reprinted once in the original.
This isn't the one I was thinking of, but yeah.
But it's from Stronghold. It's 1 red, 3 colorless, sorcery, destroy all non-basic lands.
People are loving this card.
And that's what I was going to say. If you look at one of the things that made me pay attention to this was just the shape of its graph. This is a steady riser.
It's just been going up and 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 up since 2016.
Pandemic spike.
Nice and steady.
Steadily gone up. And
yeah.
Now, let's see where we're at.
This is like a blue chip. This is a blue chip card from Stronghold. This is like the Johnson & Johnson of Stronghold.
Well, we just talked about how common non-basic lands are at this point. You could basically destroy, I shouldn't say basically, you could almost or functionally destroy all of their lands with this.
Yeah.
For only 1 more casting cost than a Stone Ring.
Yeah. That is true.
It's only
1 more.
You don't want to have a lot of non-basic lands, or you want to use it at a time where it doesn't matter.
It's going to go in my mono red deck. It's going to be sideboarded next to my Blood Moons. I'm going to screw people with this card.
Yeah, but it's up to it's $12 right now. I bought one when I found out about it like a week or two, like 2 weeks ago for
full disclosure. Yeah,
and then, full disclosure. And then I found one in a shop for $5.
Oh my god!
This past week, so I had to buy a second one. So now I have 2 at an average of $9 a piece.
You took that guy to the cleaner. What kind of condition was it in?
Oh, near mint.
Oh my god!
Crisp.
I need to go to a place like that doesn't price everything in real time by looking at the internet when you show them the card that you want.
Know, at the same time though, that's why I went there. Like if it hadn't been for that, I probably wouldn't have even been shopping there in the first place. Like I want to go there and I don't expect to find all kinds of deals like that there, but I spent a while looking through a bunch of their cards. I bought that and a few $1 cards.
You put in the time.
And yeah, and
You
I
put in
got
the work digging through
rewarded
those
for
boxes.
snagging something for a few bucks cheaper, and you know, it brings business into them, and like, I think it's a fair trade instead of
Is
just being jerks who look up everything at the register and charge you the maximum value.
is this the same place you bought Captain Sisay at for $17?
No,
Multiple stores to go to buy things at reduced prices.
I know I had two big hits this past week.
I got nothing.
I got nothing.
Buying everything on the internet or from LGSs that look everything up in real time when you point to the card that you want.
I haven't done it yet because I don't use Facebook at all, but people keep talking about how Facebook Marketplace is a good way to do local sales with people.
That's what I heard too. But then I got to meet magic people in the parking lot of
True.
Walmart.
You do. But you know,
Then I'm going to get there and then they're going to be like,
buyer.
could you do, we said 20. Could you do 22 though? And it's like, am I going to have to fight you in the parking lot for a magic card? I used to, when I started buying books, when I started buying old books, I put some ads in the newspaper, and some of those experiences were good. Like you would just go to somebody's house, look through what they have, make the offer, and they'd be like, sure thing. But most of the time it was just weird. It was like everybody always wanted like absolute top dollar for everything, like pretending as if I was clear about the fact that I was reselling. And you can't give somebody like 100% of list price.
Yeah, people
if you're gonna,
don't really get that.
you don't just like not make any money, you lose money. Because when you resell things, whatever site you're selling on takes commission and stuff.
Yeah,
And it was always something weird like that. Everybody always wanted more money, or they always wanted to haggle. I'm not a haggling person. I like to decide what I want to pay for something or what I want to sell something for, and that's just the price.
Yeah,
Anyways,
I agree for the most part. Why wait? I don't know.
yeah. So who knows what Facebook's going to be like. Also, is it going to be meeting like, it's going to be like me showing up at a Walmart parking lot to meet a 13-year-old with their parent?
I don't think so. No, I think it's
No.
be adult.
That's true. I guess if I'm buying something like kind of pricey, it's probably not going to be a 13-year-old with their parent.
Yeah.
Listen, kid, we agreed on $20. I will body slam you, and then your mom she'll never catch me. I'm stronger than you and faster than your mom.
You say you're stronger than him and faster than his mom?
Yeah, I'm also stronger than his mom too.
Okay, I was wondering about that part. You
Just both.
anticipated a
I'm faster and stronger than
quite
both of them.
strong mom.
Could be a strong mom.
Could be. Could be.
There are definitely moms out there that are stronger than me. I mean,
Yeah, definitely. She could get some of that, like protecting her cub rage.
yeah. Yeah, that's true. I wasn't even thinking about that.
Let me ask you about this is kind of financial. Let me ask you about the card Portcullis. What do you think about this card? I've written down Portcullis question mark. What's the deal?
What's the deal with Portcullis?
What's the deal?
Ooh, it's an artifact. Alex, I liked artifacts. Not reserveless. Never been reprinted. Portcullis. The artwork. Some sort of gate. Some may say portcullis.
Portcullis.
Or colorless. Whenever any creature comes into play, if there are two or more other creatures in play, set that creature aside. If Portcullis leaves play, put the creature into play under its owner's control. Okay. So basically, there's just going to be two creatures in play.
Yeah, and all the other ones go to the side. But if Portcullis gets destroyed, they all come back
in. Yeah.
This is kind of a wonky card.
It is kind of wonky.
Goofy stuff. I can see combo potential. I can also see it causing my brain to hurt when I think about it.
Alex, I don't like thinking during Magic. I just like to play my lightning bolts and fireballs and giant growths.
Pay attention to whether I have forests and mountains. That's about as deep as I want to.
I can subtract from 20. I'm good with that.
Count my glass beads.
Yeah, I got to think about this. I want to think about this in combination with survival of the fittest, or like in some sort of maybe sacrifice decks, or there are cards you can use where you like sacrifice a creature and that allows you to bring another creature into play. Like, can you start the game by playing like 2 quick, like 1/1 drops, drop your portcullis, so then you're just capped at those 2 creatures, and then find some way to like exchange those 2 small creatures for big creatures at the game as the game goes on.
Oh yeah.
Trying to think
I see that.
how I might be able to do that, but that seems like it is a thing that could happen. If it could be comboed in a useful way with something like Survival of the Fittest, I think that it would probably already be done by people, because Survival of the Fittest is already a powerhouse of a card. There's no way nobody's not thought of how to like optimize interactions with Survival of the Fittest so far. And I don't remember exactly what Survival of the Fittest says. It's text, so I have to think about that afterwards. But this is kind of neat.
One thing I noticed too is that there's a ruling on it that says when the creatures come back into play, it does count as entering the battlefield. So anything that triggers entering the battlefield will work with this, apparently. So yeah, I don't know if I really want to build something around it or play with it, but I noticed that it's cheap and it did have a spike a while back, and it hasn't been reprinted. And I think people used it at one point, like when it came out or something. I think it was like somewhat used. It has a rating of 4.4 out of 5.
It's neat. It kind of it fits in that category of cards to me that like is unique, so that I just want to have them and just try to think of something that I could do with them. And there's always like, every time I see a card with a unique ability, it's like you always have to think about the fact that something could appear in the future.
Yeah.
That works well with this card in a way that it doesn't work with anything else. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah. Whenever I see a card with a very specific mechanic or effect, it's kind of like,
this could be big one day.
So you could use this with something like Living Plane, maybe. Someone mentioned that up to turn, if you're turning creatures into land or lands into creatures, that could do some crazy things.
Nobody could bring any more land or creatures into play ever.
Yeah, or maybe something like that. Yeah,
right.
But yeah, I have to like look up specifically how that works.
I do too. Yeah,
there might be some interesting interaction there. Someone else mentions goes great with something like Mishra's Factory. Again, a land that turns into a creature. You can fill up the play area just before they try to resolve a creature. So like if I turned my Mishra's Factory, if there was one creature down and you tried to cast another creature, I could activate my Mishra's Factory. There would now be 2 creatures into play, and your creature that you just cast would get set aside instead of being cast.
You know what I'm wondering? If
some funky things there.
If there are 2 creatures in play, you have a portcullis down, but you and your opponent, while that board state is the way it is, continue to play creatures and they're just being set aside. What happens when one of those 2 creatures is removed? Let's say Swords to Plowshares or Lightning Bolt. You both have creatures set aside. Who comes into play first? When there's an opening for a creature to come into play,
I don't think they will. They won't come. None of those creatures will come back into play.
Portcullis still needs to leave play. Never mind.
Yeah. It has to leave play for them to come back.
Needs to leave play.
So that would open up a space for a new creature.
Yeah.
It wouldn't bring any of those ones in. So definitely something interesting. It's an interesting card. But I wondered about what it cost and, if it was where it should be. I just thought it was a little bit.
I think I like it. I think I want to do something with that. It's only $1.34. I think I might buy some.
Yeah, I may as well have 1 or 2 of those.
It seems it would be fun to like open up the floodgates. This is an open up the floodgate type of card. You build up a bunch of stuff while this is in play, and then you remove it from play, and then things go wild.
I like that. I like that. Yeah, you could have a bunch of stuff come back in, or use it to stall their creatures or whatever until you're able to deal with them. Check out Intruder Alarm. This card's dipping.
Intruder Alarm.
It's spiked at a weird time. There's multiple versions. You have to look at the Stronghold.
Tell me what to do.
It's Stronghold and 8th edition.
You're not the boss of me. 8th edition's $20. Well, that's wild.
Yeah.
That is wild. The Stronghold version's cheaper?
That's what it looks like on that graph.
At
but I
least
don't
on
know if that
MTG
graph-
stocks. Who knows? Yeah. Sometimes these
TCG
stocks
players
aren't
did the
correct.
same thing. That's weird.
That's wild if that's the case. There's Mirari, that cat lady, looking all
TCG player, you're looking at about 11
weary.
bucks, 11 to 12 bucks for the Stronghold one. And the 8th edition one is 13 bucks.
Okay.
It's so weird. It almost never happens because it's white border instead of black border. Oh, there is also there's a secret layer. Yeah. That's interesting. Kind of like the art on the secret layer one. It's sort of like a Where's Waldo.
Intruder alarm. Anyways, what does this card do?
What
I'm
does
just
it
sitting
do?
here thinking about how the Stronghold one is cheaper for some strange reason. 2 colorless, 1 blue, enchantment. Creatures do not untap during their controller's untap phases. Whenever any creature comes into play, untap all creatures. Okay. This has to be a combo card of some sort, right?
Yeah. It doesn't like I don't immediately, get what you're supposed to use it with when I look at it,
I
but
don't either.
you know, um,
People be doing something with it. It's had several spikes and then it keeps coming back down to $10.
yeah, well, it has an interesting graph. Yeah, it had some interest, not just that pandemic spike. And it also
Yeah.
waited until after. It didn't spike until the beginning of this year.
Not a reserve list card. Reprinted in 8th edition. Even the 8th edition, people must use it for something often, or else there's no way the 8th edition version would be $15.
Someone suggests using it with creatures that create tokens by tapping. So then when you like cast a new creature, it would untap all of those and you could like cast tokens again with them. I don't know.
Okay.
Doesn't seem.
It's one of the top 5 most expensive cards from 8th edition. That list includes Grave Pact, Bribery, Defense Grid, which we talked about last episode, City of Brass, which everybody knows, and Snaring Bridge, Intruder Alarm. That's 6 cards. It's one of the top 6 most expensive cards in 8th edition, not top 5. Interesting.
Yeah, people just say it can be used in a bunch of different combos, but they don't really talk about any of them specifically on here.
Good job, Gatherer.
But it's not that confusing that it's not the kind of thing you couldn't figure out yourself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you had one of these, you could be like, oh, I'll put it in this deck. Or
Give me a little bit of time, I'll combo it with something. But it would have to be a deck that's kind of built in large part around Intruder Alarm. And it's like, do I want to do that with my life? I don't know.
yeah, not really.
Do I want to do that, or I just
Probably
want
not.
to play Goblins? Or do I just want to play Giant Growths on anywhere else?
But I thought its price trajectory was a little bit interesting.
Yeah, it is weird. It's had a lot of interest over the years. You got any other price movements, Alex?
That's about it on price movements, I think, or things that I noticed.
Okay. I'm going to talk about something.
All right.
I'm going to talk about a card nobody's ever heard of before. Nobody's ever heard of this card before. It was a land that was first printed in Tempest. And then it was reprinted in Conspiracy, and then recently in Commander's Legends, Battle for Baldur's Gate. It is a land called Reflecting Pool. It's a land that nobody's ever heard of before, Reflecting Pool. I want to talk to you about Reflecting Pool because at some point when we first started buying cards again, mid 2022, I was like, I want some more Reflecting Pools. I think I had 2 Reflecting Pools from back in the day at Tempest, and I was like, I want 2 more Reflecting Pools. And then you're like, oh, it's going to be reprinted again pretty soon. You're telling me about this set that's coming out called Baldur's Gate. You'd be like, hold off on a little bit. We'll see what happens. And Baldur's Gate was printed, and then we kept an eye on Reflecting Pool for a little while, and it wasn't doing anything. And we were like, The original didn't really come down in price. Do you remember these conversations?
Yes.
But you know, we didn't pay attention to it then for another like 2 or 3 months, and it is coming down in price. At its highest, it was about $40, 39, 38 on MTG stocks. Now they're 23, 24, which means you could probably get a light play on TCG Play right now for about $20, I'm guessing. I think I picked up one not that long ago for like 25. So I just wanted to bring this up to say that, you know, I guess these reprints, we got to wait a little bit longer than we expected to have to wait. Like the drop in price did not happen as quickly as I thought it would.
Yeah, maybe.
And it's still coming down. And I think maybe next time, if I'm thinking something might drop, I need to give it like a good 6 months to a year to see if it really settles down or not.
And also because this is a Baldur's Gate reprint and that set didn't seem to be received super well, it might be, people talk a lot about how much a set gets opened. So, you know, if the set wasn't selling super well and getting opened a ton, it might have a more delayed effect on the price, as opposed to a hot set that people are all just like cracking because they're trying to get the Imperial seals and stuff. Is that the right card? What was that?
Imperial seal was printed in something.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I just want to make sure I called it the right thing.
What was that reprinted in recently? Was that in Modern?
Double Masters?
Double Masters, yeah. So yeah, I just wanted to say Reflecting Bolt is dropping. It's back down to its mid 2020 price. And I'm curious to see where it settles out at.
Yeah, it's worth noting too that the Baldur's Gate version, like the extended art one, the nice one,
it is really nice.
It's come down a little bit too. It debuted right around $9 to $12. It was hanging in that range for a while. Didn't seem to drop much below 9, but now it's down to about 7.
So this was just a bit of a learning experience for me. I was like, I think I just gotta be more patient with some things after reprints. Another thing that I want to talk about is another card that dropped in price after reprint. This is going to be, I'm going to talk about this more in a future episode, but I'm going to talk about just one particular card now, because I found this card and I was like, what's going on? I thought two things. I was like, oh, this is a pretty cool card. And I also thought, what the hell's going on here with the price? That made me look more into the effect that Modern Horizons 2 reprints might have had on the original printing of some cards that are pre-modern legal. So, like I said, I'll talk about more of these in a future episode.
Yeah, I'm excited to hear about that.
But for now, I want to talk about one in particular, Patriarch's Bidding.
Oh, okay.
It was a card that was originally printed in Onslaught, and it's in a couple World Championship decks, also reprinted in Modern Horizons 2. So when was the reprinting for Modern Horizons 2? When was that printed in?
That was last year. I think it came
2021. Out yeah. If you look at the original Onslaught card, well, first let me just read what it is. Patriarch's Bidding is 3 colorless, 2 black. It's a sorcery originally printed in Onslaught. Each player chooses a creature type. Each player returns all creature cards of a type chosen this way from his or her graveyard to play. I know why I was looking at this, because I was thinking about zombie decks. I was thinking about goblin decks. I was thinking about zombie goblin decks, aka the Gabagool. And this is something I came across. So from like late 2017 to 2020, this was like a $20 card. Gained a lot of interest around then. Prior to 2017, it was steadily moving up. Like a lot of things that had a pandemic spike, it went from 20 to 40 something, all the way up to like $45 in mid 2021, and then immediately collapsed. Like it plummeted from like $45 to $9 in the course of 6 months. Right now, you can pick it up, the original Onslaught printing, market price $6.83. I was like, what the hell's going on here?
Oh, wow.
That's when I saw the Modern Horizons 2 reprint. Right when that happened, this thing just started dropping like a fly.
Yeah.
So this is a card that I like,
That's
and
good.
people play, in the past. I think they still play it now. I want to use it, at least give it a try in some decks.
And if you like the old version of a card like us, that's
I
great.
always want the old version of a card. And the old version of a card right now, there aren't many things in Magic or actually in the world right now in general that you could buy for like at like 25% of the price it was selling for like last year. You know, I guess there are quite a few high flying stocks that have absolutely plummeted like this too, but a lot of things are still, even if they're not near their highs, they're still well above the prices they were selling at pre-pandemic. This is a card that pre-pandemic was selling at 20 bucks. It's selling for less than half of that now, and it's because of this Modern Horizons 2 reprint. And I don't care if the card was reprinted. I like it, and I want the original version. And if I can get the original version
It's like
for super cheap now, then I'm doing it. I'm all in. Pick Jarrett's bidding.
It's not a reserve list card, so it's not like you didn't think it would be reprinted.
Exactly. But this also shows the danger of like going in on cards that are like pretty expensive that aren't on the reserve list, like the Captain Sisay. If it stays at like 70 bucks, if that's reprinted in a high print run set, what's
I'd be
wary,
frankly, I'd be wary of anything, reprintable that is $40 or above. You know what I mean? Something's 40 bucks, it's gonna get reprinted eventually. Maybe not if it's 15 or 20, but once it starts getting up above 30 or 40 bucks, it becomes like a pretty prime target.
Especially that first reprint. That first reprint's probably going to affect the market more significantly than like any future reprints would, I'm assuming.
Yeah, unless they reprint it into the ground or change its rarity big time, like drop it.
Yeah.
This was a rare, and then let's see, in modern, it was a rare also in Modern Horizons 2. So,
but I'm curious to see like cards like this that were obviously played frequently. It was played enough to hit 20 bucks. And bulk rares that nobody plays with don't hit 20 bucks. I'm curious to see what happens to cards like this from later sets like Onslaught in the future. Does the price of the original printing ever get back up to like 50 bucks or more just because you have a cohort of players that are now older and they want to get that original version? And they don't care about how much it's been reprinted. I mean, I think about certain cards from Legends. Land Tax, Recall, Concordant Crossroads.
Yeah. So the old Sylvan Library.
Exactly. They've all been reprinted over and over again. You can buy cheap versions of these cards from Chronicles or 4th edition or 5th edition. But the originals will still sell 100 to 50 to 100 to 150 bucks because enough people want the original ones. Now, the Legends printings, of course, were much, much smaller than the Onslaught printings.
Plus, they just have more prestige than Onslaught, like as a set. I don't know.
But I'm curious to see what happens, like in the future.
I think
10 years from now, 20 years from now,
to go back up. I think it'll. I don't think it'll. I think it'll be hard for it to reach that peak again. But I could see it being back up to 15 bucks. Because as Modern Horizons 2 dries up a little bit, it was big set, big printing, but like as it dries up, I think you'll start to see the old one creep up a little.
But I like this card, and I'm excited about these finds. I got a lot of these. I got a lot of these to talk about because there are a lot of cards that I just want to. I want to play too, and they're available for what I think are like really good prices right now.
I hate it. Sucks that it costs. It's 5 casting cost. I'm just worried I'd ever be able to use it, but it does look fun. I want to try it.
Every time I see a high casting cost black card, I'm just always like, Dark Ritual.
I know.
Which you can't really do, because if you just do that, you get yourself in trouble, and you only have 4 Dark Rituals in your deck and a bunch of high casting cost cards, and you never play them. But you gotta do it right. Dark Ritual.
Speaking of that, I'll go off on a tangent for a second. Check out Avatar of Woe. I picked up one of these.
Also, Alex, I will say you play this card at a time where playing this card is going to be pretty much the end of the game. It's like everything from your graveyard of a creature type doesn't just go back to your hand. It comes into play. They
get one creature back.
Exactly. And then you're like, boom. You slam them in the face.
You're slammed. Right to the wall.
You go boom shakalaka.
It was cool.
You play your
Avatar
didgeridoo.
4. Yeah, a mournful didgeridoo tune.
I'm gonna bring war drums.
Death
I'm gonna
March.
bring a horn. I'm gonna bring a didgeridoo. I'm
The
thinking about all the
didgeridoo
instruments.
dirge.
I'm gonna have all sorts of instruments I play every time I
Play
play
a
cards.
didgeridoo
You were
dirge.
like, oh, when I play cards, I want to start reading the flavor text. No,
Yeah,
I want to play the war drums. I want to blow the
that's good.
horn.
That's some goblin war drums.
Yeah.
Uh,
What were, what were you looking up?
Avatar of Woe.
This makes me sad.
It should. Want a dark ritual for it.
Oh boy. Prophecy. This is a set.
Terrible
We have to
set.
talk about this set at some
People
point.
call it. I saw something that called it one of the worst sets.
This is a set. That's all I'll say about it.
It has cards in it.
It is a set. Have you looked at all through it?
Yeah, there's nothing of value. I think there's
It's
one
a
card.
set.
Oh, you know what's interesting about this set? I think this is the one. The most expensive card in the set is a common.
Yeah, that blue card. Yeah.
Most expensive card in the set is a common. But Avatar of Woe, this was reprinted a few times, including in Time Shifted recently. So it's, I don't think this is going to go up in value at all. Although it has been on its way up for the old printing for some
It's
reason.
good art. It's illustrated by Marky Post's son. Continue.
So what Avatar of Woe does, it's a creature, 2 black, 6 colorless, huge casting cost, 8 casting cost creature. But if there are 10 or more creature cards total in all graveyards, its cost is 6 colorless less to play, so its cost becomes only 2 black. Avatar of Woe can't be blocked except by artifact creatures or black creatures, and it can tap to destroy target creature, and that creature can't be regenerated. And it's 6/5. Should mention that to begin with.
10 or more creatures in all graveyards. I mean, that's something that can definitely be achieved,
especially in Commander.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So in a late stage Commander game, this is an almost guaranteed 2 black 6/5 creature that can't be blocked, mostly can't be blocked, and can tap to destroy another creature.
I want one.
Holy moly.
I want 4. If anybody out there is thinking about buying this out, send an email to oldmanmagic@gmail.com. Ask me if I've purchased my playset yet. Alex, do a full disclosure, Alex.
Full disclosure, I have one
copy.
One.
Yeah, this is a pretty good card.
It looks fun.
Yeah. Even non-commander, I'm like, I can get 10 creatures in all graveyards.
Play some Culling the Weak, sacrifice some creatures to get some mana.
Play a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Huh. Not bad.
Not bad. You survive another week, Alex.
Yeah, not bad. I'll accept it. It was acceptable. It was cheap. $2 for a decade.
Well, that's not insignificant value, really.
Now it's $7.
To a lot of other bulk cards, like
Yeah, I mean $2.50 for a bulk. I mean that's above bulk price, really. But I consider bulk rare price like 50 cents. I feel like, right? There's a lot of rares out there you can get for 50 cents.
For sure. It shows that it was being at least played a little bit.
Yeah, it had good art too. Has good art. Still has good art. What are the original? What's the art on the reprints? Same art in Commander.
Yeah, I think it's same art, but just different borders.
They kept the art. They couldn't get rid of that art.
Well, there's an Ammon Cat Invocations that'll be.
This set is wild to me. I don't understand this set at all. I do hate it. It's way too busy. There's way too much stuff going on. It's way too hard to read.
I liked what they were going for.
Does anybody play these?
I'm sure they do. They're worth money.
Yeah, lunatics play them.
I like the
people who have gold toilets play these.
Feel and like some of the art's cool. I don't really love the hieroglyphic-y writing, like in the at the top.
The frames are just too much.
Yeah, it's
just too much.
A little goofy.
What was the point of this set?
What was the point?
What was going on here?
Figuring out something to do. Figuring out something to make.
They just needed to make something.
That's pretty card right there. That Armageddon.
I would imagine Armageddon in an old frame. old black frame.
Yeah.
Imagine that,
That
art.
artwork, oh, that
Yeah.
would kill. That would.
Yeah, without all of this craziness.
Yeah, it would be better. Yeah.
It would
I
be
like the art.
beautiful.
But I do know that if I find these like at a flea market, that I know to buy them.
Yeah, I'll buy them and immediately sell them on eBay.
Anything from the Masterpiece series set, you know, all those artifacts that are kind of done like this. That's a cool looking card. That what were we just on Blood Moon?
Yeah, that was a Blood Moon.
That's pretty.
I look at all this art and I'm like, if this was just in an old black frame, old frame, black border.
They should make sleeves with like a on the face side of the sleeve.
Yeah,
We were talking about the backs blacked out.
Yeah.
That have like an old border frame on the face card so that it covers up like the edge of that.
Yeah, somebody should do that. I wonder if anybody's made something like that. Even the counterspell's cool. Counterspell's cool too.
Yeah.
Imagine old frame, black border. Ugh.
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 Yeah, cool art for sure.
It is, and it's like the
borders
digital
are the
style,
problem.
which I don't usually like that much, but I mean, it is really this art is really cool. Just the border's just too much for me, man. Look at the Desolation Angel. Alex, old frame, black border.
Yeah, it'd be all black and gold.
Pittsburgh Steelers
No.
themed deck. Okay. Yeah. Masterpiece series, Ammon Cat Invocations. I don't know how we ended up there.
Buy them if you see them at a flea market. That's all I have to
if you see them at a flea market. They're terrible, terrible frames, but all the cards are worth like $50 a piece for some reason. I wonder if they sell.
That's true too. You never.
I have no idea.
They sell.
You can see that on TCG Player, right? You can go look to see how many have sold in like the last however many months.
Yep.
Well, they'll do that at some point. I never searched for them on eBay either. You could see like a completed auctions on eBay. Okay. Is that all your price movement stuff, Alex?
I think so.
I have no more. I have no further price movements to discuss. So let's wrap this one up.
All right. Nice talking to you.
This is segment 3, Alex. You know what segment 3 is?
Oh, no. Do I?
Segment 3 is the wrap up. Segment 3 is where I say, thank you for listening to the Old Men Magic podcast. I hope you enjoyed. You can find us on YouTube at our channel, Old Men Magic. If you visit us there, please like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell.
Hit it.
You can also find the Old Man Magic podcast on Apple Podcasts very soon. I finally think I got that set up. And you can find us on Spotify. On Twitter, you can find us at Old Man Magic. Anything else to add, Alex?
Thank you as always for tuning in. I hope we didn't ramble weirdly and bore you with our old crotchety, confused magic talk.
I think we did
we'll be
okay
back
today.
next week to talk about more weird cards that we bought and things that we think are interesting.
Okay. See you next week.
Bye, guys. Thanks.